Ja, guten Tag, wie geht's? I've just this is in reference to the Islam is taking over video that I've just watched. Very good video. I've given it a rating of 5, because I think many people should see this. And no, I don't think that you're being a Nazi for saying these things. There are some truths that are completely objective, and I think you've got the numbers quite right. I want to comment on this, and I want to preface it by stating that I'm not a nationalist. I think that nationalism is absolutely stupid, because it's completely unfounded and very much like religion creates polarization and an absolutist ideology, which of course you living in Germany will know of. And of course living in England I know of too. It's very difficult to talk about this subject because there are a lot of facets, and as you said, if people start criticizing these things they do get accused of being Nazis, and I think that's completely unfounded and unfair. We're just stating facts. Well, you're just stating facts in this case. I'm concerned by this. But I don't think that immigration is much of a problem. I think that essentially the main problem here is integration. Now, if we're talking about 5 million Muslims, we have to define what we are talking about. Are we talking about fundamentalist Muslims, or are we talking about moderates? Or are we talking about secularist people who live in Muslim communities? Now, it's very important to differentiate those three things. Unfortunately, as I'm sure you know, as is the case in England, a lot of these people in these communities are from Orthodox Muslim backgrounds. So we will have situations where they will be a very outspoken and vociferous response, very much like they had following the cartoons in Denmark. And of course in London we had the London bombings. So, you know, this is the work of fundamentalists, but this is a reasonably large community, so it's very dangerous, very difficult to deal with. How do we solve this? It's inevitable that these people are going to breed, as are our people or anybody else. So what do? Well, we can't artificially stop it by kicking them out, because that's against everything that Germany stands for, that's against everything that England stands for, and it's a completely undemocratic process. So I would oppose something like this. I don't think that Fortress Europe is something that we should have. I think that we need a pluralist community, but that's exactly it. We need, well, I'm a pluralist, and you seem to embrace pluralism also, because, you know, you're talking with us and you're sharing your point of view, and that's a wonderful thing. What we need to do is instill in them the value of cultural pluralism and make them realize that they are living in a multicultural society called Germany, or in England, you know, the United Kingdom, and that they have to become a part of it. They can't create these little ghettos where they want to install Sharia law, where they want to rule themselves. They have to become part of that society, and becoming part of that society necessitates the adoption of secularism as a way of life. Now, for those who, I know that you know what secularism means, but for those who are listening to this and don't know, or have a misconception, secularism does not mean, oh, you must become an atheist. No, that's not it at all. Secularism simply implies that religion and public affairs should remain separate. That's all it means. Okay? That means that if you want to pray, you pray in private, you pray at home, or you pray in a temple of worship. That's fine, but you don't force your religion onto others. Now, this is exactly what many Christians don't understand, what many Muslims, what many Jews, what many, you know, there's other religions out there that are trying to shove their beliefs down our throats. But they have to realize that in order for their particular religion to survive in harmony with others, they have to embrace this secularism, which means that you can pray at home, you can pray in your temple, but as soon as you come out into society, you are part of German culture, you are part of British culture, you are part of American culture, you are not part of a Muslim society. You may come from a Muslim community, that's fine, but when you go into the population in Germany, you are in Germany. And people need to realize this. So it is a bit of a dark prospect, because a lot of these people are unwilling to understand that. But I don't think that immigration is much of a problem, because it enriches our society, I think. I'm an immigrant, okay? I'm half Norwegian, half British. I've lived in Belgium, I've lived in Australia, I've lived in the United States. I'm a mongrel. Now, I challenge everybody to look at somebody else and say, well, they aren't, they are pure. What the hell is pure anyway? We all come from different ancestries. Whether it's regional or national, we all have moved to some extent. So I find that people who do wield the anti-immigration philosophy are generally unfounded and misguided, because nationalism is a completely irrational concept. You should watch my video, The Irrationality of National Pride. You might find it useful. And to go on to another aspect of that subject, when we say we need to limit immigration, I often find myself looking in disbelief at these people, because they don't look at the other side of the coin. When people say, oh, well, why don't they go back to their own country? Well, look at their countries. War-torn Iraq, about to be annihilated Iran. That's fucking horrible, man. We are exporting our culture of violence to these places, and it really pisses me off, because we have no respect for other cultures. But we are very much a catalyst for so much of the immigration out there. It's not just war, it's economic imbalance. If you look at the British Empire, for instance, okay, British Empire went out, raped the nation, many continents, came back with the tea and the gold and the opium and all of these things, and we left their countries pretty much crippled. Well, I mean, sure, we gave them a certain structure, but when people then start looking back and they go, wow, England is actually pretty rich, we should move up. Who wouldn't? If you were, if you were scuffling in the sand or in the dirt looking for, potatoes or rice or whatever, and next door you see that your people are, working, and they go into McDonald's to eat, who wouldn't immigrate? Who wouldn't go? So when people wield the anti-immigration stuff, I think that they're really being very self-obsessed and very, very arrogant. Anyway. It's a problem that we've very much caused, and it's due to the imbalance in culture, the imbalance in the world. We are very much at the top of the pyramid, and I think it's only natural that the people at the bottom of the pyramid will try to climb up, and we can't really be mad at them, because that's exactly what we would do if we were in their situation. So the only way to solve that problem is to rebalance the pyramid, make sure that, well, capitalism is founded upon the exploitation of those less fortunate, but that's maybe something we need to rethink, because it's not a viable solution. It's not something that we can maintain in the world today with extremists, with fundamentalist religionists out there. It's a terrible, it's a bomb waiting to explode. But anyway, that's just a comment, completely off the off the mark there. But man, thanks for doing that video. I really appreciate it. You've said a lot of truth out there, so keep up the good work, and Auf Wiedersehen.